Now, a Daily Maverick article is causing quite a stir. It details how the lifestyle and political aspirations of EFF leader Julius Malema were allegedly funded from the 16 million rand robbed from the VBS Mutual Bank. Joining us now via Skype to discuss this expose is its author, Paulie van Wyk. Paulie, thanks very much for your time. Let's just get into it straight away. How have you made this link, and what transactions exactly have you studied?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Making the link between Mahuna Investments, the slush fund, and Mr. Julius Malema was quite a series of events that happened over the course of a few months. So in the first instance, it was more a position of trying to prove Mr. Malema right, that he wasn't involved in the VBS robbery, as he has stated so many times before. So what we have done is to look at the payments from the slush fund, and at the legal owner, who is Mr. Malema's cousin, Mr. Matsubani Paleng. So the investigation into the account shows that it's a business account, but it doesn't operate as a business to start with. There's no operational costs and no people employed, and it doesn't look as if the business is doing actual business. It's not doing something to derive money from a service or goods being produced. The expenses also look like a person's expenses because it is clothing, groceries, food, accommodation, travel costs, and certain luxuries and businesses that are being funded. So we couldn't put Mr. Matsubani Paleng and his location to this account, apart from the fact that he only received 245,000 rand in director's fees. But Mr. Malema's eldest son, their names appear in the bank statements. The home that Mr. Malema rented, that he lived in for quite some time and is now an EFF asset, received a lot of money. Maketi Lodge, the party venue in Limpopo, received over 2 million rand from this account. And Mr. Tsepo Malema, Mr. Matsubani Paleng, and several other Malema family members seems to be involved in this business. Further, the EFF received a lot of money from this account as well. And then we saw 2 AfriRent payments, which referred to a questionable payment that Amabungani, the investigative team from there, said may relate to a kickback from AfriRent in the flea deal relating to the city of Johannesburg. So we looked at all of these payments, and then we decided to see how the point of sale payments, which means that it's a bank card being used that records the location and the product being bought on the bank statement, how we can locate or trace that to a certain person. And in the end, we realized that this card has followed Mr. Julius Malema right around the country to places like Vryburg, Mabaso, and Rustenburg in Northwest, the Durban July, and certain places like the rural East London area where the EFF had held their celebrations, their party celebrations, as well as Durban and those areas in 2017, also for EFF celebrations, including then also Cape Town, Polokwane, and Seshego. So all of these places, Mr. Malema visited at certain times and used the card from Mahuna Investments to acquire certain goods and services. So we realized that this card, this bank statement, is actually in use for Mr. Malema's benefit and not Mr. Matsubani Paleng's benefit.
And Paulie, how did you come by these transaction records?
A source provided these, and we cannot say anything more about those, but that they are legally derived.
So, okay, you've touched on this in your first answer just briefly, but Mahuna Investments, you talk about it essentially being a slush fund, but where does the money come from?
The money clearly comes from VBS payments. So let me take you through the link to this account. If we take a step back, certain VBS-linked companies were used in order to get funnel money out of VBS, the bank, to Schameka Project, which is a slush fund operated by Mr. Brian Chivambo, who is the brother of Mr. Floyd Chivambo.